Hello class, this is my presentation on why video games don't make young adults violent. So the problem, it has been a common theme in most parents' mind that violent video games make violent children. The media links violent video games to mass shootings in the US in the last 30 years, according to the APA Council in 2015. A misleading 2001 report by the US Surgeon General showed that violence was directly linked with violent video games, Shallow 2001. This is a bias for most parents. But the main problem with the report is that it was taken through a survey, and the age range that was used was not corresponding to the safety and age range on each video game, making disputed data. So, video game ratings. Each video game played has a rating by the International Software Development Association. And they also have their intended age ratings of what they believe what ages people should be playing them at. So there are 7 of them. Early childhood is clean, family friendly for everybody. E for everyone is still clean, family friendly, mostly for everyone. Everyone 10 and up, these games have a little more violence in them, and you don't want anybody too young exposed to them. There's teen, these are all made for teen audiences, more mature kids that can handle having a little more violence, a little more fun in their games. Then there's mature. This is made for everyone 17 and up and has a lot of violence and a lot of foul language. And then the adults only is made for 18 and up with very strong language, a lot of violence, and a lot of sexual conduct. Now, the consequences of video games. The U.S. Surgeon General's report of youth violence made it seem that video games made all young adults more violent. But the problem is that the data was misconstrued, as they used data of younger kids playing more mature games, and that made them more violent. A more recent study of video games making people violent has different evidence. After the release of Call of Duty, which is one of probably the greatest games I've ever played, and it has sold over 140 million copies worldwide, and they have no link to violent behavior and violent crime, is now at a 40-year low in young adults, according to the BBC in 2009. Now, this is because the intended age range is all 17 and up, and with this study, there are still kids, obviously, who are going to play it, but they are mature enough to understand right from wrong, and they understand that you can't just do this in real life, and the link to violence is a lot lower than the original one in the U.S. Surgeon 2001's report. Now, a child's not going to play a game that's semi-violent and then just go out and immediately commit a felony just because they saw it, because they should be mature enough to understand right from wrong and understand this is a video game and not real life. So, aggression and stress. A study shows that teens playing games that are not intended for their age are more stressed out than teens who play games that are intended for their age. Multiple studies have been conducted relating aggression and stress, linking them to video games. Through 2 of the most accredited studies, both range drastically. As Anderson reported in 2009 that their stress size is being 0.19, and while Ferguson reported their size as being 0.08. Now, these sizes range drastically, as one is almost twice as big as the other, and they still did use the same amount of people and use the same factors. It's just, you can't measure this on a large scale. There's not enough people. Now, the other problem with these studies is that the misinterpretation of aggression and what it means. One study links aggression to lethal violence, while one other study links aggression to non-lethal violence. So the resolution to this problem. I think that you need to make sure that your child or sibling is old enough to play the games that they're playing. If they're not, they shouldn't be playing them. With proper parenting, young adults are being mature enough to handle playing slightly inappropriate video games, but the number of kids who can't handle them need to be set away from them, and they shouldn't have access. So if your child is not old enough or can't handle it, then don't let them play it. But it's a talk between the parent and the child, because these video games have ratings for a reason. And through all this evidence, there's no real link of violence in young adults through violent video games.